Welcome to the Mag Beast. This build is definitely a blast, and you are lucky to be here. So, thank you. Elden Ring DLC has been fun. I am diving deep down a rabbit hole. I got a very cool build here. You're watching some of the move sets for it, and I actually have a little bit of variations as well that I'm laughing about. I think it's funny. So, we're going to go through everything that you need to know and how to set it up right here. But before we do, I wanted you guys to know we do have a giveaway for the channel. Matter of fact, we have multiple giveaways. I'm going to be giving different games to people, free codes, free giveaways for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater and Assassin's Creed Shadow. So if you're watching this, make sure you comment. You get a chance to win. The information's in the description. All that out of the way, guess what, guys? It's time. It is time. This build right here has been a blast, and I just want to talk about it. I put on 3 spells specifically just to buff up a little bit. This is a test build that I've been working on, and I have different elements that I'm going to be doing with it, and I'll showcase that a little later. But in the end of the day, you basically want to be able to have strength or dexterity as your focus for the moment. Very cool stuff. Absolutely love the way the game plays when it comes to this build. So many good things happening about the damage and everything that it's offering. So you should be good to go, locked in for this one. Very exciting. Now, secondly, I did want to talk about the key to this build and when you play. So getting very aggressive is going to be important. Got to know when to enter and when to exit. I don't always figure it out as well. You're still learning enemies' attack patterns. But if you can get in on an attack, for example, you're going to see me do it in some of these clips. Get in right away and hit them with your skill, your weapon skill. That is the best time to go forward. You can see there's 2 enemies in front of me. I'm like, wait a minute. I switch out. I said, let me go get some buffs before we go in. Let me go throw on some golden Val and so on and so on. And basically, allow me to do a little bit of extra and, take your time with that type of thing. Play smart. Don't allow yourself to basically lose over nothing. And so, yeah. So that's the main thing that you want to focus on. Had a very good time trying this build, seeing what it can do against a couple of optional bosses, and probably one of the hardest bosses beat I ended up running into and beating them with this. Of course, it's not a cakewalk. You want to be smart and take your time and do the right thing, but definitely doable, guys. Okay. So lock in. And yes, sir. Speaking of that, we want to show you guys a variation of this build right here, as I couldn't stop laughing when I figured this out. And you're going to probably laugh too as we continue. So, just a couple moments ago, I was coming in here to this area to test it. With hack and slash, it takes a little while. With this amazing stomp, I take them out right away. And I tell you, this is a perfect thing to have because it's an entry point to a very aggressive build. You could actually use it to exit too because it staggers and it actually breaks posture a bunch as well. So it does a lot of great things, and you should be fine depending on you know what type of play style you have. But that is, to me, some of the best and most fun and funny ways to play this. That's something that I'm personally recommending as we go. Now, let's get into the actual build because I know that's what you guys care about the most. That's what we're here for, right? And I am going to show it to you right now. We're going to get into everything as we go forward. Okay, Mag Beast build. Well, guess what? First thing that we're going to talk about is being able to have the right attributes. This is probably the most critical thing in the game. And so, first and foremost, 50 vigor is the minimum. A lot of these stats are where I want you to be or the minimum. Okay. And you can switch it up depending on how you want to play. But 50 is the minimum. I would say the DLC at about 70 is pretty standard, and you're going to be able to handle any boss with 60 to 70, so you should be fine. Then mine and endurance, we're going to bundle them up together because you do use the skill a lot. As you can see, the skill takes up, I mean, a lot, and I mean a lot of mind and endurance. So make sure you have those at 30 at minimum, and then you can put them higher as you go. And that'll be a fun way to play. Now, this weapon again scales with strength and dexterity. You have to either go one or the other. I personally like going with strength or dexterity, whichever you feel personally. You can add something to that with another thing if you're going to cast spells, then dexterity, or maybe something else. And hold a heavy weapon later on, switch it back and forth. You can do that whichever way you want. The reason I put 40-40 is just a point you want to reach on one or the other. You don't have to go that high. Again, from 150 and above, this is a recommendation. Intelligence and faith, you don't need any of it unless you're trying to cast some spells and buff yourself in some kind of way. Of course, some spells require you to throw a good number into those, but it's not necessary. Now, arcane is the topic of the day because this build does do bleed damage. It doesn't do anything that's catastrophic where you must have it, but you can put it on and you're going to see the bleed buildup really enhance the gameplay a lot. And I mean a lot, a lot, a lot. And so we're going to go through the items and kind of show it to you so you can see for yourself more or less what we have going on. And so the key thing that you want to focus on when it comes to the build, and we're gonna keep this pushing here. As you can see, this is the number one weapon, and I do have a build video. People always asking me, where did you get that? This is the build video. Locations are in the video as well. Description for where you can find this. It's a pretty easy find, not too complicated, but it is spectacular. And as you can see, it scales with strength and dex. So pick that up, must have. The seal is just for me to buff myself, so you don't really need to worry about that. The outfit as well is more style. I really like the way it looked. I wanted to show it off to you guys, pretty much. Not a big deal. Now we're gonna get into good stuff. Talisman. These are super spectacular and they work well. I like to do the jump attack with this just because you want to be agile, and if you have to get in on an attack, why not? It is the only one I would change easily if I felt like it. That one and the green turtle talisman. Okay, so the claw talisman and then the green turtle. Those are the two that I would probably change if I wasn't using those type of fighting styles. For example, the jumping, or if I felt pretty comfortable about my stamina, which I feel pretty good because I got 40 right now. Then you have the must-have two. Posture is very important, so raising it, you can see here I have 99. And then the Rotten Wing sword insignia is going to let you get successive hits, boosting your damage. Okay, so those are the four with the bull goaded talisman, and then those are the four that you'll need. Should be good to go from there. Now I do want to talk about the important stuff in here. Again, for spells, I'm not really casting anything. We want to throw this on here. You can change it all up, but the main two that you want for survivability, Golden Vow, and some extra damage, and then grant me strength. These are just standard for a lot of builds. But I wouldn't mind throwing some other things because you can turn this into a hybrid with range attacks and things like that. We're gonna go into the Asher War. First and foremost, the Astral Ward that I was using and the main one is this one. This is the original. I absolutely love it, and I'm not here to tell you don't use it. Okay, I actually like that one more. It's way more fun. But the way that this one does the posture damage and then the heavy duty damage, just something special about it. I'm gonna go into it for a second here so you can see it does some serious amount of damage that I think is very important for this playstyle. And I love it for that reason. So you should definitely look into trying it. And then, of course, I haven't picked up every new Ash of War for the DLC, but when I do, I will gladly give you guys that rundown on that. But that is what you want to use. Those two are the ones that I've been using for this build. I put on Moog for the rune. I love that. And then the last but not least, I have Purifying Crystal and then Green Burst. Purifying Crystal for the blood, and then Green Burst strictly for stamina recovery. Those are pretty much it for the most part. Again, this build is very fun. A lot of different ways you can do it. Again, putting the element damage adds a little extra, and you can turn it into a hybrid, maybe magic, maybe fire or something like that. You can throw onto your claws, and that's going to buff you up, and then you start adding extra elements and being able to put a little more damage out there with that type of scaling. But personally, I like the arcane way of this build. Arcane dexterity and strength, and then you'll be good to go. And then continue to raise all the rest of it. It's a fun time. You know, it's something that you're gonna really start falling in love with playing with it because there's so many ways to play in this game. But this one right here has its own fun variation that I think is very cool. And like I was telling you guys, the actual setup that you see right here, where I'm doing the smash, literally one-shotting all these guys pretty much for the most part. So it's an hilarious way to play, but guess what? It's definitely useful and doable. You want to have a little more fun with that. And so just depends on the different variations. We'll see. That's the build right now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We have a lot more. I have some breakdowns on different things when it comes to this game that you can check out, whether it's how to get stronger, whether it's new builds, and a whole lot more, all on the channel. Trying to give you all the best I can. Working very hard as the game just dropped the DLC, and I'm kind of trying to get a grip for everybody. Hope y'all enjoy it. Make sure you jump into that giveaway and lock in right here for the next video popping up on the screen. See you there. Peace.